Hey there, everybody. Thank you for that warm introductions, Jen and Daniel. This is such a cool event that y'all are putting on. I know that these sort of things require a lot of work, and so shout out to y'all. This is such an epic conference that y'all have put on, and I think y'all were just talking about the work that the mentors kind of put into it, but I think it's also critical to look at the work that y'all put into it. This is this is almost a 4-day conference. That is quite the feat. So I'm going to share my screen here. The brief introduction there was I work at StackBlitz, and what we do is we actually run a well, let me figure out how to share this screen. Let's see, entire screen 1. At StackBlitz, we run a in-browser IDE. So I'm sure that a lot of y'all have seen this before. Basically you can click on a project, and let's go with Nuxt. I like Nuxt a lot, and you can run. It runs the actual project itself in milliseconds, very low latency, and the power behind this is not a virtual machine in any way. There's no data center involved in this. This is actually our core technology called web containers, and so. The workshop today, what that's going to look like is we're actually going to use the technology behind this and our newly released open source framework called TutorialKit that Jean graciously talked about yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to see that talk, by the way, you should definitely go watch it. It was really impressive. So we looked at this, and we obviously can run an in-browser IDE, and we thought that was really cool. But eventually, some people started to approach us about using the actual behind this, and so this is what the web containers page looks like here, webcontainers.io. And so you notice that this is a terminal. You can ls here, you can pwd, all that sort of stuff. And so we give a very low level primitive, give developers access to build all sorts of experiences. So the first one that actually popped up was Svelte. This is the Svelte learn.svelte.dev. Where you can actually walk through all of these different exercises to learn Svelte itself. This was really powerful, and I think it was very impactful for a lot of people. And kind of to continue rolling with that, we then started to see more people pop up doing this, like Angular. Angular actually introduced their own sort of tutorial as well, interactive tutorial. You can kind of walk through this, and you can start to see really how powerful it is. And then Nuxt, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I really like everything that Anthony Fu does, and I'll talk more about that specifically when we get to the exercise. But Anthony Fu also started to work on a Nuxt tutorial. This is in development, but I'm very much so obsessed with it. It's a lot of great work, and it's really impressive. So we kind of saw this trend that was happening where we had released this bare bones API, as you can see here, and people were starting to develop these experiences, these interactive experiences on top of it. And so we kind of asked ourselves, what about if we just, I don't know, built an actual tutorial kit? That's exactly what we called it, right? And so this is what we're going to be working on today. This is where the workshop is going to lie. Is we're actually going to build interactive docs in just 45 minutes, and it's going to be really high quality and impressive. And so I'm going to kind of walk through what the UI looks like here. This is our demo. So as you can see here, you have actual navigation that you can navigate through all the different lessons. You have a part, and then a chapter, and then a lesson. I'll go through the docs as well. And then you have some beautiful UI. You have a file tree, and all this isn't, IDEs are kind of complex to build. At StackBlitz, we understand this really well because we built an in-browser IDE. And so all of this allows you to get started very quickly. And so you get access to a full terminal, all sorts of different cool stuff like that. I'm going to go back to the doc side over here. Actually, I think maybe now it might make sense to jump into what we're going to be doing today. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be creating an interactive view playground for VueUse. This is a really cool, I guess, like super framework, you could maybe think of it like. And so these are the folks behind it: Anthony, Jelf, Webfans, all these different wonderful people. They put in a lot of hard work. Matthias, Matthias is he's a StackBlitzian, and so if you go in and look at some of the guides here, there's an installation process. And so kind of one of the questions that when you're looking at interactive tutorials is, as most developers know, installing something can actually be a bit of a pain. And so one of the things that we're going to do today, the first step, is we're actually going to, let's see, we're actually going to make a dedicated lesson for installing VueUse. And VueUse is a relatively simple package, and so it won't be necessarily the most complex thing, and that's exactly where we want to start, because you can start to see kind of, well, if you did have a more kind of in-depth installation process, this tutorial kit would actually be really, really, really powerful. So kind of the flows of this, what this is going to look like is, and generally speaking, we have a clone. You can clone the boilerplate. I've made a starting point for us, and then we have we're gonna go through the documentation of VueUse, and you can pick and choose whatever actual methods you would like to make documentation for. So I really like the use storage method, and so I'm actually going to make and when you see me do this exercise, I'm going to be copying over a lot of those examples. And so here, so familiarize yourself with VueUse, and then we're going to continue on. We're going to create a new Vue template inside of SRC templates. Actually, this is a great time to go back to that documentation site. Let's go over here, get started. So kind of trying to think about the best way to keep everybody moving along with this. I'm going to do a brief overview of kind of the documentation here. Let's see how I'm doing on time. All right, I think I'm all right. Kind of talked a lot about that. And so the installation process, you can actually skip this, but I'll go over this in my lesson because I actually already have all this pre-configured inside of that repo that you can clone. And that's inside the actual Notion document there. It's Astro backed, so it's backed by Astro. And so if you have any sort of customizations later on down the road that you want to do, you got a full framework kind of backing you. But let's talk about creating a lesson, because this is where we're going to spend the bulk of our time. So we have a hierarchical structure here. So we have parts, and then a chapter, and then a lesson. And the metadata from the parts and the chapters are actually inherited by the lesson. And so it's really powerful. You can set the actual configurations in the part, and then they'll scaffold down based on the actual configuration. Lesson content, let's see. So here we have a content.md file, and that's where the actual, if you look at this example over here, that's where the content on the left-hand side goes. As far as adding a lesson, what you can do is you can, let's see, there we go. This is what I wanted to show. Beside the content MD file, we can actually create two folders, a files folder and then a solution folder. And so the files folder actually ends up being the code that your user is going to see when they initially load that page. So let's go ahead and look at that. .dev. Try the demo. So this portion is the content.md file, and then the files folder that we were just looking at is actually this file tree right here. And then the solutions folder is when you hit solve. And so if you notice, boom, reset, that's what the file system would look like. So it's a little bit complicated. I've included links to the actual documentation. So that may be something that we get a lot of questions about, and that's great. A lot of this was, I mean, we literally released this at yesterday, open source. So feel free to ask any questions, and I'll be there in Discord kind of holding everybody's hand. Let's keep going through this configuration. So this is what I was talking about with the meta information. You can assign titles and types, part, chapter, or lesson, slugs, focus, previews. There's a lot of powerful stuff in here. And most of it, prepare commands. I think this is probably going to be the most important. Prepare command, which that would be like npm install, and main command would be npm run dev. Most of the time, I think it should just work. So we'll kind of see how this gets rolling. So let's go back over to our Notion document here. So, well, actually, I missed over the one thing that I wanted to cover. which is creating a lesson, code templates. All right, code templates. Code templates are really, really, really powerful. I have a few code templates predefined inside of our GitHub repo here. So if we go over here, go into the source. So the content lives entirely inside of this. You got tutorial and then parts and lessons. But the templates specifically, I've created 3 templates here. So we're going to be using the Vue template today, and we're actually going to create another template called VueUse to kind of show the power of it. The actual lessons themselves inherit this template. And so if we go back to our example over here, let's see, looking for it, go back. Oh, the actual file system itself, there's a whole, we're installing dependencies and we're running a server here, right? But notice we're not seeing a package.json. And that's where the template comes in. The template is actually, it's background information that helps you run the files inside of your files folder. And so it's really, really a powerful concept because all of this is actually stuff that's not necessarily very relevant to the users that are doing the tutorial. And so inside of these lessons, we actually inherit this template itself. So it's really, really, really powerful. So kind of maybe going back through this, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to familiarize yourself with VueUse. We're going to create a new Vue template in the source/templates by generating a new Vue project. So we're going to navigate to that, CD, and then we're going to run, I like PNPM, and so I have the command here for you. It's just nice and easy. PNPM create VueUse, and this template is what I reference throughout all of my exercises. And based on that, we've just added a new template. And so now we're going to actually use that template we're going to use that template post install. Then we're going to make a dedicated install step using the existing Vue template right there. And then you can look at actually how to install VueUse right from their guide and kind of how that would be interactive. And then we're going to go through and we're going to pick a few examples from the VueUse documentation. I like use storage. There are plenty of good functions. They have a whole list here. Pick your favorite one. You can't really go wrong. They're all awesome. Save you a lot of time. And so here you kind of have a choice of which direction you'd like to go. And you can end up copying this and making your own kind of example, an interactive example if you'd like. But then what I ended up doing for my exercises, I actually ended up going to their source and their examples and copying over this. So feel free to do it however you like that. That's kind of open to interpretation. And I have links to both of those examples right here. At the end of this, kind of the bonus section of this is that if you want to continue to add in more lessons, I don't think VueUse would mind if you made their whole documentation interactive. I think, in fact, they'd probably love that. So feel free to keep going, do as much as you want if you move really fast. But the framework itself is obviously just recently released, and so I'm really eager to help support y'all as you go through a lot of these challenges. So this is a screenshot of the finished app. Here you can see that I have VueUse core. I'm console logging, or I'm actually rendering to screen the actual object there. I stringified it. So yeah, there's some helpful resources here. TutorialKit.dev. I know I showed off that, but we spent a lot of time getting the documentation just right there. Shout out to Tomac from our team. He's done a great job with that. And then we have this demo here that you can look at. So of course I have a solution here, but don't look at that unless you really, really need it. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of best to challenge yourself. So yeah, that is the introduction. I'll be around in chat, ready to help in any way possible. We actually also potentially have some other StackBlitz folks kind of looking and able to help guide you. So with that, I wish y'all the best of luck, and I will see y'all in chat and in 45 minutes.